Memphis is the home of the blues, rock and roll, and Earle Farrell.
From the Collierville Square to the mighty Mississippi, the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is all about good things that happen across the Bluff City and the people who make Memphis cool.
The Earle Farrell for Memphis show is made possible by our title sponsor, Southern Security Federal Credit Union, and by Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm Insurance.
By Dive Shop and Dive Ventures nationwide. Jim Karras Chevrolet with George Gully, Napa Cafe Memphis and Glenda Hastings, Phoenix Unequaled Home Entertainment, For Memphis Magazine, the Live at the Garden Concert Series, and the Orpheum Theater Group Memphis, and by Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, family owned and operated for more than 40 years. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible.
And now, coming to you from Lansky Brothers, Clothier to the King, inside the world-famous Peabody Hotel with the heart of a cowboy and Memphis in his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Earle Farrell.
And thank you very much, and welcome to Lansky's Clothier to the King, and me, as a matter of fact. We wear a different jacket on every show, and so do many of my guests. As my guests today are Mark Billingsley is with us today, and he's going to be talking about a number of things. Your background, of course, people know you from the county commission.
Sure.
But you've worked for Christian Brothers University as a director of development, raising funds for them, and
right.
A number of other nonprofit organizations. But you most recently took a real challenge. We had a long discussion about the other day, Alliance Foundation, and they called and said, "We think you could help us raise some money." And,
they did.
And recount that story, because you had just left the Christian Brothers University.
I did.
And somebody out of the blue just gives you a call and says, "I think you could help us."
Well, I tell you, I absolutely enjoyed my 6 years at Christian Brothers University. I'm a Brothers boy, went to Christian Brothers High School here in Memphis. I'm a native Memphian. And so I was at CBU for 6 years, absolutely loved it. Still stay in touch with the Christian Brothers, but then a number of people called me and said Alliance Healthcare Services, who's been around for 50 years in Memphis, helping people with mental health and substance abuse issues. They wanted to start a foundation, and they really wanted to dream a little bit and do some new things to help more people with mental health issues in Memphis. So I stepped up to the plate about 27 months ago. And honestly, Earle, it has just been incredible on what we've accomplished the last 27 months.
They had not raised a dime. In fact, they hadn't even called on anybody when you took over, correct?
That is correct. For 50 years, they depended on TennCare and other government services, which they still depend on very, very much. But with philanthropy, which I've done my entire life here in Memphis, Memphis is an incredibly generous community, as you know, Earle. We started a foundation. We started with a new board, have some incredible board members on the Alliance Foundation board. The former CEO of Methodist Lebanon Healthcare, Gary Shorb, Dr. David Rudd from the University of Memphis is on our board. Beverly Robertson is on our board. So we have some heavy hitters on our board that really care about this community. And we launched an effort to build a one-stop shop for people with adults with mental health needs at 3200 Broad. We raised over $34 million to build that building, and it's literally been incredible.
We got a shot of the facility there. It's I drove by. I wanted to see it because you were telling me where it was, and I'm going, where is that? So I got in the car right after we talked and drove by there. Very impressed with the facility and where it is, and then they're constructing something else across the street. Is that part of this?
You know what, Earle, the first vision was to build this building that you can see on the screen, and that is a 55,000 square foot, 2-story building. There are 45 inpatient beds for people with mental health and substance abuse issues. It also has an incredible outdoor space. You see that up on the roof. It almost looks like the Memphis M, where patients as well as employees can go outside and get a breath of fresh air. It has a beautiful view. That building right there is already changing lives. We only opened up in March.
Wow.
I was there several times today. The lobby was full. We had people walking in. You can also make an appointment. If you're in a serious psychosis or really need some Intensive care, we admit you. We have 45 beds. We help you regardless of your ability to pay. But our next vision, Earle, was to help the children of Memphis. Just like adults right now are in the midst of a mental health crisis, our children are really hurting in this community. So our next opportunity to help children was to build a building, a mental health building for children. And so we're doing that right now, right across the street from the adult building. It'll help children from the ages of 4 to 17.
Well, as you mentioned, as we all know, anybody that's had anything to do with law and order in this community, and especially very timely with what we've seen coming out of the murder on the Charlotte train, where the woman was killed by a guy that his mother said was schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And for years, I remember when the MHMR, Mental Health, Mental Retardation Building, was here in Memphis on Poplar.
MMHI.
Yeah. And that's where everybody went for screening before they said, okay, well, they're not crazy, but they are violent, so you need to take them to 201. And then they would handle the ones that had mental problems. And then they closed it down all over the country. There was no place to send anybody for care there. And it was like if they deemed them, some kind of psychosis or mental deficiency, they would just turn them loose rather than send them to jail, because jail was certainly no treatment center. And there's a huge need for this. Is that what y'all determined, that there was need was there and it was not being met?
Yeah, the need is tremendous. We were literally on a floor at Memphis Mental Health, which is now behind Regional 1. MMHI is still in Memphis. There's a different building, but it just wasn't adequate for our needs. And we felt like if we could put a continuum of care under one roof and bring crisis and hope and wellness and recovery to one site, it would work. We got tremendous support from our governor. We got support from the city mayor, the county mayor, the city council, the county commission, area philanthropists, and we were able to exceed our goal of $34 million. And that building today, Earle, is open at 3200 Broad. Our next vision is to build a children's building, which is under construction. If you drive by 3200 Broad, it's just on the other side of First Baptist Church. And we literally are taking up an entire block on Malcolm. It's at Summer and Malcolm and Broad at Malcolm. So what we've really designed now is a mental health campus.
Yeah.
And to your point about those that are incarcerated with mental health issues, we are diverting over 400 people a month away from the jail.
Wow.
Who have just simply a mental health challenge that are not appropriate for jail. They have created maybe a misdemeanor or a minor nonviolent offense, and they might be in the midst of a psychosis. The Memphis Police Department, Shelby County Sheriff's Department, and the fire services are transporting folks to our building. I saw several police cars, sheriff's cars, and ambulances even today dropping off patients with us.
Which there was no place to take them before.
Well, they could go to MMHI where we were, but it was a much longer, arduous process. You had police officers off the street for hours. Now it's a very simple handoff. I will tell you, Sheriff Floyd Bonner has been very supportive. Police Director C.J. Davis has been very supportive. And it's certainly been a blessing to the community, because we need our firefighters and our police officers and our deputies doing their work and not waiting at an emergency room to hand off to a nurse. And many times our hospitals are not equipped to deal with someone with a mental health issue.
I can't tell you how many times I've been at Regional 1 seeing prisoners handcuffed to a gurney.
Yeah.
And a deputy or a police officer has to stand by them until they're examined, and it takes them out of action.
It does take them out of action. But I've been very, very much encouraged about this. Some people have said, how in the world have y'all raised that kind of money in such a short period of time? Well, Earle, our community is in the midst of a mental health crisis and a substance abuse pandemic. And it's not just people our age or younger. We're talking about children now that are committing suicide. September is Suicide Prevention Month, as you and I sit here today at Lansky's in the Peabody. So we need to bring better awareness for those people in crisis to reach out to us, to call us. when they are having severe depression, anxiety, they don't feel like themselves. They need to reach out and call us.
Well, and we still don't know the impact that we're getting to and have in many cases already with the COVID experience, kids not being in school for 2 years. I mean, that is a setback that I don't think they're ever going to recover from. There's a whole generation of kids that have a 2-year gap in their learning experience and their development experience.
Well, I can tell you this, Earl. I was vice president at Christian Brothers University in the middle of COVID. And I'll tell you, we saw students across this community melt down. Many of them were taking classes online throughout the community, and it wasn't good for them. They were literally secluded in a room by themselves. A lot of the normal activities that young people get to enjoy weren't happening. I mean, we weren't even, remember, Earl, kids weren't even having graduations anymore.
They didn't do anything, and they couldn't go play with each other. There was no interaction with them. I mean, it was really, and I think the more they look at the effects of it, because it affected not just children, but adults as well. I mean,
absolutely.
We're social animals.
We are.
And they segregated us, separated us, and I think that there's a lot of mental illness that was created by that. I think we now know that that's the last thing we need to be doing. I never really stopped because I was in the media, so I kept going and do what I did. But I couldn't get people to come to me. They didn't want to go anywhere, and I couldn't really go to them. So that's why I did the show from my home for 2 years.
Right.
But I'm certainly glad to be at Lansky's now and having people coming in and from all over the world, really, that stop in here as we're setting up.
This is incredible. I am wearing today Elvis's wedding jacket. So pretty impressive down here at Lansky's.
Open your jacket up.
Look at the inside of that thing.
Inside
I've got Elvis.
Those are all pictures of Elvis and Priscilla at their wedding, and
pretty incredible.
Fully lined, yeah.
Pretty
and you
incredible.
look very sharp.
Oh, thank you.
I'm wearing one of their fall jackets here, and as we were taking pictures before we started the show, and he said, "Boy, that material is so soft."
Oh, it's nice.
These jackets are incredible. I don't talk about them enough, but we've sold a lot for Hal and Julie because everybody looks good in them. And people have told me, if you look that good, I'm going to get one of those jackets.
Well, they pair with lots of things. You can dress them up or dress them down.
Absolutely. I do want to take just a moment here, though. Yesterday, I went, and you were there as well, at the visitation for Sheriff Bill Oldham, who passed away unexpectedly. And we were talking about it before we went on. You were amazed at how many people at the visitation. The funeral was actually this morning.
Well, I tell you, as I was waiting with my wife to give my condolences to Mrs. Oldham and his daughters and family, I was talking to different folks that knew Bill really well, and I considered Bill a friend. I was on the county commission when Bill was Shelby County Sheriff, and I learned so much from Bill. Just his sense of faith, his sense of compassion for people, his passion for children really came across as sheriff. He never gave up, and other people have said this about Sheriff Bill Oldham. He never gave up on the kids. Even the kids that were involved in juvenile issues, Bill didn't give up. The other thing that really stood out, Earl, is I was talking to TBI agents, Shelby County sheriffs, and Memphis police officers, was how many times Bill stood up for them in respective opportunities and gave officers an opportunity that they may not have gotten, but Bill saw the talents in each and every person.
He really did. I was very grateful for him appointing me as the chief public information officer, and loved working with him and his entire team. But I got to see his empathy for people.
Yeah,
and because he was a police officer for many years before he went with the sheriff's office.
Right.
And he did everything. He was in drug enforcement. He was DUI. He was just regular patrol. And so he really knew policing.
Yeah.
And he knew the effects it had on the people that do enforce the law, because it's a tough job, and it's gotten even tougher over the last few years. But it was a testament to him and his really kindness and relationships with so many people in the community. And people don't forget that.
Oh, well, no one will forget Sheriff Bill Oldham. I shared my condolences with Sheriff our current Sheriff Floyd Bonner right after I got word of Bill's passing, and Sheriff Bonner said, I wouldn't be in this seat if it wasn't for Bill Oldham. Bill had a great belief in Floyd Bonner and what he would bring to the sheriff's department, and he was actively supportive of Floyd for sheriff, which honestly, being a politician wasn't necessarily ordinary. Bill Oldham was a Republican and Floyd is a Democrat, but Floyd
Think about that for a minute.
Yeah, we don't do that a whole lot these days. But I tell you, he saw Floyd Bonner as another lawman who's given over 40 years in law enforcement. But our community, and I know his family, will sorely miss Bill Oldham. He was a prince of a guy.
He really was, and great family man. In fact, most of his family all live here, in her family, his wife's family as well. And just about everybody was somehow involved in public service, either sheriff,
his
police
brother,
department.
Terry, has given his life to firefighting, and the whole family, they're all givers and very, very kind people. And I think that's why St. Louis Church yesterday, the people were wrapped around the church to say their condolences to the family.
Well, and you've been involved in public service for me. And I understand, are you running for county commission again?
I'm going to be, I plan on December 23rd to pull my petition to go back to the county commission for District 4. I served in that role for 9 years. It was a blessing. And I really want to give back to the community. I took a little hiatus and a breather to do this project. I'm going to continue to raise money for mental health with Alliance Healthcare. But I do want to return to the public service arena. I think we need good leaders that are going to move this community forward.
I absolutely agree. And you have a good track record. I mean,
well, thank you, Earl.
Anybody can say, I'm going to do. We've seen what you did do.
Thank you, Earl.
And I think that I was talking to Heidi Kuhn. I saw her yesterday, and she's running for county mayor. And I said, what you need to do, and I think it used to be that way more than people voting party lines, is pick the person. Yeah. If you think somebody is right for the job, you should sit there and say, I'm going to vote for them. I don't care if it's a D, a B, or I in front of their name.
Yeah.
And I think more people are inclined to do that. They just want this community to be better. That's the reason I'm doing this show. Is I said, we got to start talking and letting people know there are great things about this community and where they are and how they're working and how you can get involved.
Well, it's incredible what our community can do when we put our heads together. And you and I were talking about the Peabody. How many years ago did Jack Bells have the vision for this Peabody? People now, I just passed by the ducks who were posing with our tourists here in Memphis, but the Peabody didn't always look like this. And can you imagine the bet that Jack Bells made on this hotel? You remember what this hotel looked like.
When I moved here in 78, 6 months after Elvis passed, drove by the building on Union Avenue and
right.
It boarded up. And in fact, I didn't see a walking around human being until I got somewhere in Midtown, because downtown was virtually shut down.
Sure.
And then I met everybody within the first couple of years, and Gary Bells and his brothers and the Bells family. And he brought me down here after they bought the Peabody on the courthouse steps for $500,000, if you can believe that. But he brought me in the lobby, and there was one light bulb on a pole in the middle of the lobby where the fountain is now and the ducks. And he said, we're going to really transform this place, and you're not going to believe it. And I went, it's going to take some work, because there was nothing in the lobby. I mean, and the ceiling was what it was, but it was covered with dust. You couldn't even make it out. And they literally saved, the Bell family saved downtown Memphis.
Well, can you imagine Memphis without the Peabody?
Or the Orpheum, and it was. They were talking about tearing the Orpheum down, and then Charlie Burgess got behind that and said, "We're not tearing down the Orpheum."
Well, Memphians have a different bit of grit and grind, and honestly, when I heard about the mental health crisis our community was having, we created that same grit and grind to make this adult building possible, and now we really want to make a children and youth building possible. Earl, our goal to raise money for the Children and Youth Building was $10.5 million. We're about $3 million away. We are actively soliciting philanthropists to realize that goal, but I just feel like with that same Memphis grit and grind, we're going to get there.
Oh, I think you are too, and I was going to ask you, would you immediately, because you've been raising money for a long time, so you know it's a difficult challenge.
It is.
But when you come across something that people sit there and immediately get, that's when you know you're on the right track.
You know, it used to be when I worked with Methodist Le Bonheur, I'm fortunate to have been there for 10 years. In the old days, I would raise my hand and say, how many people have been affected by a transplant? Or one or two people in a room might raise their hand, because that's sort of rare that you need a transplant. When I would mention oncology or cancer, quite a few people would raise their hand. Well, now, if I'm with somebody and they talk about mental health, everybody raises their hand. Everybody can relate to it.
Yep, everybody's touched by it. Well, you're doing great work.
Thank you, Earl.
And good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
I think
Thank you.
You're good for Memphis, and anybody that's good for Memphis, I'm behind.
So. Well, Earl, you're good for Memphis, and the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is tremendous. And thank you for what you're doing for this community. You've been here a long time. I agree. You're a cowboy, and I support this cowboy. So thank you for all you do.
Mark Billingsley, thank you, sir. And we'll have you back soon to find
That'd be great.
How it's going with the children's facility.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Dawn Grader, President and CEO of Southern Security Federal Credit Union. We're the proud title sponsor of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, coming to you live from Lansky's in the world-famous Peabody Hotel and celebrating all of the great things about our great city, Memphis, Tennessee.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm so proud to be part of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, streaming live from Lansky's from the Peabody. We will be showcasing not only Napa Cafe, but some great restaurants around town. We look forward to seeing you.
Hello, Memphis Mid-South. And first, I'd like to thank you for visiting with Earle Farrell Memphis today, and we want to support him just like you do. I'm George Gully, one of the sales managers at Jim Karras Chevrolet. We've been in business here in Memphis for over 75 years. I've been associated with the company for almost 25, and I'll help you find the right car, truck, or SUV here at not only our Chevy store, but also Buick, GMC, Nissan, Subaru. We can help you find that right car. Keep watching, Earl, and come see me. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm, and I'm so excited to be one of the sponsors for the Earle Farrell from Memphis show, broadcasting live from Lansky's at the Peabody. And I'll tell you all about what we've got going on at our office. Gift cards for quotes. No purchase necessary. I'm better looking than a lizard.
Hi, this is Randy Wright from the Dive Shop and Dive Ventures in Memphis. We've been in Memphis over 64 years teaching people to dive, snorkel, and swim. We'd love to have you come join us and have some fun. We're also a part of the Dive Ventures Group with 18 locations across the country, stretched from Phoenix to Vienna, Virginia. Please give us a call. We'll be able to take care of you at 999 South Yates in Memphis, or call us at 901-763-DIVE.
Hi, I'm Brett Batterson, President and CEO of the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. We are so pleased with our partnership with the Earle Farrell Show and very happy that he is broadcasting live from Lansky's at the historic Peabody Hotel. We're all here to make Memphis better.
Hi, my name is Jameson Todd, and I'm the director of Live at the Garden and the Radiance Amphitheater. And we're so excited for our 25th year of Live at the Garden here at the Memphis Botanic Garden. We've got a great lineup for you this season, so come on out.
Hi, I'm Olivia Wall, Director of Marketing and Communications for Memphis Botanic Garden and Live at the Garden. We've had Earle Farrell right along the way for the past 25 years, and we can't wait to talk more about the season this summer on the Earle Farrell for Memphis show.
So come out to Live at the Garden. Our first show's on June 21st.
Hi, I'm Mitch Wright.
And I'm his son, Mickey.
And we're the owners of Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And proud sponsors of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show.
We're thankful to be part of the Memphis community. We've been in business for 42 years, taking care of people and loving the people of the Mid-South.
Hey, my name is Jake. I'm with Phoenix Unequaled Home Entertainment. I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of what I do here at Phoenix. I'm a sales engineer. A lot of the times we talk about home theaters, but there's so much more that we offer. We offer a lot of home security solutions, as well as water detection and everything. So if you guys ever need anything, give us a call. We'll get you guys fixed up.
And welcome back. Joining me now in the studio here at Lansky Brothers is Wesley Wright, who many of you know from his involvement in politics. He also is a landscape company there in Lakeland. And welcome to the show. Good to see you again.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
You're actually talking about something. You're the founder of the Lakeland Arts Council, and this is the third annual Lakeland Arts and Crafts Festival coming up this weekend.
Actually, Next month. So
Next month.
We get everyone's a big head start on.
That's right, because we
saving the
talked
date.
about it. Said let's get it in this in advance because usually we do things the week before, and people you got to have time to plan, Because, but this is something that you were a big believer in is the arts, bringing the arts to Lakeland and to Memphis, really, because people go to the festival. I got a picture of the festival. I guess it was last year.
Yes, sir. That was our second one. It was a big success.
And where in this location, I went for the first time to that development. I had no idea it was there.
It was a field about 4 years ago. There was nothing there.
And now you feel like you've left Memphis. You've gone to
Yes.
some other. It reminds you of Oxford, Mississippi, or Collierville, Town Square. It really is a great addition. And the sports club that's there is. I went to a thing there.
Owner's Box is amazing.
Yeah,
Great people.
It is. And then the weather's supposed to be great from now through the end of the year. I got it on good authority, so you should have that. What was it that really motivated you? Was it having kids yourself and seeing how important the arts are to young children and impressionable minds?
Yeah, so thank you for that setup. So I go back in the arts really deep. It runs deep in my family. My father was a church organist. You knew my father, Richard Wright. He passed away a few years ago. He was a church organist at Merton Avenue Baptist and Union Avenue Baptist.
Which was like going to the First Baptist Church in Mayberry. I mean,
Yes.
the minister married Kathy and I. That was there for Roger. And on Mother's Day, he always wore a white suit with a red carnation, and they handed out red carnations But it was a very grounded, old-time church. And my mother-in-law played the piano, and your dad played the organ. And
yes, your mother-in-law was my piano teacher, Marilyn Taylor. So they played together for years. And Merton was a strong music community. We had a lot of talent in a small church, and that carried over into me and growing up and learning instruments. Now, my dad played up to 12 instruments. I just play 2, so I'm not near as good as he was.
But he got my talent because I can play nothing.
He was amazing.
He was. But then the fine arts, it was a whole different thing in crafts and everything else. But I think that it is very important. I was director of development for the Orpheum Theater, and I got to see every year while I was there school buses and hundreds of them coming from all over the area to come see the Orpheum Theater. Not even for really a performance, to see a place like that that's designed for the arts. It makes an impression that never goes away, and you never know what one little thing is going to trigger something in a young child that says, I want to do that.
And my daughter's been inspired by that. So both my kids are wrapped up in the arts, and my daughter is in the theater as well. We have season tickets, Broadway season tickets with Orpheum, and we go to all the shows, and we try to go to as many other shows as we can, other places as well. I also went to Overton, which is an art school. It's kind of like Fame for Memphis. And so I went there on an optional transfer because I went to Snowden growing up. Then I went to Overton. And so I was in the choir under Mrs. Hedgeman, who, if you follow her and people that were under her learning, there was a gentleman who's the Cordova High School choir director who won Teacher of the Year.
Wow.
He was just a year behind me, and we were in the choir together. So the arts runs deep. And so bringing that to Lakeland, that appreciation was a natural thing for me. And so 4 years ago, while my daughter was entering the orchestra, Mrs. Turner, the orchestra director, said, hey, have you thought about creating some kind of arts council or something like that? And I was like, I think we're mind melding here. It's like the same thing. I had the same idea. I was like, let's do that. And so I started it more of as like a appreciation for the arts, encouraging the arts and promoting the arts. And 3 years ago, just about a year later after starting it, we officially started the nonprofit Lakeland Arts Council, and we had our first event. And that was our first, that was the Arts and Crafts Festival, and it did really well. Last year we did our second, and now we have our next one coming up October 25th. So we're looking forward to celebrating the arts. A lot of live performances, and more than you would think in Arts and Crafts Festival. And it's 10 to 3, free event, over 80 vendors, a lot of things for kids, face painting, bounce house, food trucks, and of course there's already anchors of other restaurants there like the Owner's Box.
Sure.
So it's a great venue.
It is amazing though, because that's how Memphis in May actually began. Was some guys said of like-minded people, they said, we need to have some kind of a festival, bring people downtown, this brings people to Lakeland. It also exposes the people in the community. It brings them together, and they get to know each other. But it also it shows that there's something happening in the community. And young people, are you finding young people more relatively involved or wanting to become involved with things like this? Because for so many years, it's like everybody kind of stopped doing anything, and probably the pandemic had something to do with that.
Yes. I think the timing of it helped as well, because the first one was right after the COVID. And Lakeland, if you're familiar with it, it didn't have really places of gathering, as we'd call it. And so with Lakeland,
there wasn't a town square.
Exactly.
No.
And so this venue creates that space. And so it's amazing just seeing so many families. It's very family friendly. A lot of teenagers you wouldn't necessarily see come up to an event in Lakeland. They come and just love to see the live music. It's just a great venue.
What is the mood of the community? Because every community has an identity, if you will. And I know there's a lot of young couples, probably more young couples living in Lakeland and Arlington than any other place in the county. Is that what your experience has been? I know you have a young family.
Yes, a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old. We moved there 12 years ago in October. And it's a very forward-thinking town as far as growth and excelling. And we've finished the middle school and high school, so we have a full K-12 system. And that was one thing we fought for and achieved. And it's excelling on all levels, academically, athletics, and arts. So it's just great to see a family-focused community thriving.
Well, I don't think that was the intention of some people on the city council and some on the county commission when they wanted it to all become part of the Shelby County school system. They thought that the city could throw it to them. The county would have to pay for it, and then they could tell everybody what to do. As it turned out, because all the independent communities said, we're going to start our own school system.
Exactly.
And it made all of the surrounding communities stronger and really made the school system better once they get the people at the head of it finally back in. But it really did make Shelby County better educationally, I think, by having the suburban communities having their own school systems. And it showed people that if you don't do what the parents out there want to have happen, we ain't going to stay there. I mean, I think that was the big message that came from that.
I agree. I think municipal schools is one of the greatest things. You have local control. So if it's in your backyard, you have a great investment in it and great focus in it. I think that so you have people investing who are in their community and involved, and they are elected to their school board or their council that impacts the budget. And so there's a lot of great things involved in that.
Well, nobody likes representation or,
Right.
You want to be able to be in control of your own destiny.
Exactly, yes.
And I think having them tell us what they're going to do and not give people that live in the community a say, which is what you're doing with running for the county commission.
Yes, sir.
What is your view of that? I mean, I'm sure you're interacting with everybody in your district that you would be elected to. What are they saying they like about what's going on or what they don't like about what's going on?
Well, most people know me from being a commissioner and a vice mayor for Lakeland for 2 terms, so 7.5 years. I won under a special election, so that's why the math seems funny. Why is it 7.5? So I had a special election, got elected, then reelected in 2020.
It was a bonus year.
Right. And so they know my reputation for public reach as a public servant and trying to improve the community, but also investments in safety. I brought Flock to the city of Lakeland. That was something
we've had them on. They're incredible. I know one of the guys I worked with in the sheriff's office is running the Flock camera situation here. And now there are literally hundreds of those all over the community. I don't know if you know the answer to this. Is the new camera system in Memphis part of the Flock system?
Yes, I believe so. I know there are over 600 Flock cameras distributed throughout the county. Which is very important as a network because you're able to track things down.
Well, then a lot of people don't know this. They think they just take pictures. These are artificial intelligence at work. They'll identify a vehicle. Once it's identified, it sends it out throughout the system, not just here in Memphis, but nationwide.
Yes.
And these cameras will look at things like scratches, a pink dot of paint where it didn't match the rest of the car. It really, and the more information it gets, and then it starts tracking it, and you don't even have to try to find them. You just go to where they go on a regular basis and wait for them. And that's how a lot of these arrests are taking place.
Yeah, police departments love them. Everyone I've spoken to, because my District 3 that I'm running for is Bartlett, Lakeland, which is under Shelby County Sheriff, and Brunswick in the middle. So Loosahatchee down to 64. and Bartlett PD is a big fan of Flock as well. Because most of the time what happens is criminals don't necessarily come from around the corner.
No.
They're coming from possibly several counties away or a great distance. And so they're going to be going to a certain location, commit a crime, and driving back. And meanwhile, that's getting tracked through Flock cameras. And so police departments are able to actually solve crimes faster.
It's almost like having an air tag on them.
Right.
They don't even know it, but you've been tagged.
Right.
And we've got them where I live on the Halley Plantation out in Collierville. And the gates, both the gates coming in, every car that comes and goes, they get a picture of. And so they've tracked down a couple of people that have gotten in there and gotten involved in some mischief. And it's you just sit there and go, here, come get our video. And they do. Well, you're doing great work out there in Lakeland and that whole area. Are you seeing, I know the Blue Oval is still under construction. Was it your communities being impacted with people moving here for that, or are they living closer to where the construction is?
I think there's some impact. It's because it's kind of a matter of building homes. We do have a greater capacity in Lakeland for growth because our sewers have a lot of room for adding additional housing.
Which infrastructure is extremely important to growth, because I know that's stopped a lot of communities. They said, we're not putting any more infrastructure in. If that's the case, you can't develop it.
Yeah, I think that gives Lakeland leverage. We also had 4 TIFs, which are tax increment financing, which basically has to do with commercial growth, but also mixed use with residential involved. And we have other communities that are planned developments. So there's a lot of potential there. I think we've been smart about growth in Lakeland, not to overdo it. We don't want to necessarily overwhelm our school systems. We want to make sure that's preserved as well. So there's a balance in that. So Blue Oval, I think, has had a positive impact as far as interest in the area. But people come to Lakeland from all over. That's one thing you learn about it. A lot of FedEx pilots come in there. A lot of entrepreneurs live in Lakeland. You'll find out, this restaurant that I eat at in East Memphis, the owners live in Lakeland. And it's surprising how many people I keep finding out, they live around the corner from me. They're not far away. So it's a great town of entrepreneurs and people that just strive for excellence, a great family-friendly community. And it's just great to see something like the Arts Festival bring people together as a place of gathering to commune and mingle and support other people, other artists, and other people that sell as vendors.
Well, it'll be a good opportunity to go visit and check it out for yourself. And then give us the date again. October
25th. It'll be at Lakeland Town Square. That's at C-Tick and 70. So if you're driving down 70 between Bartlett and Arlington, you'll see it. It'll just pop out of nowhere.
It does. You're driving down this little 2-lane road, and all of a sudden, boom, there it is.
Yes.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Yeah,
so,
we tend to nestle our developments in schools around trees. We love trees, so it's a beautiful thing.
Isn't there's a big shooting range near there?
There is. It's the largest one, I think, around here, yes.
I mean, it's very nice.
Yes.
And
off
skeet
Old Brownsville
shooting
Road.
and all kinds of stuff. And I
It's
think
an
on
amazing
Sundays,
place.
people are out there shooting automatic weapons. It sounds like you're back in Vietnam from a distance.
Yes. You can hear them ring in the distance, yes.
But you know, the community's well armed, and they will not be taken by surprise.
That's right. Well, Lakeland actually has the lowest crime rate in Shelby County.
Because everybody has a gun. All right. Wesley Wright, also mention your landscape company. I know you.
Wright Landscaping. So it's nothing very clever or creative. Just I named it my last name and landscaping. It's we've been in business for 20 years and love to take on new customers.
And you also, do you have a sod farm too? Because I saw that you were at one on a video.
A friend of
the
mine, actually, I support other landscapers and
Sure.
stuff. So a friend of mine, Hernan Brothers, he has a sod farm just outside of Lakeland.
Okay.
And I was kind of pushing that. We love supporting each other. That's the great thing about business owners.
Which a lot of people don't understand before
Yeah.
they get into business.
Yeah.
Before I got in the restaurant business, I thought everybody's going to look at me as competition, and they really didn't. They'd love for new people to create a synergy, and the more variable restaurants and businesses out there, the better for everybody.
I agree.
And because I remember I thought, well, we're running out of oysters here. What are we going to do? They said, call somebody on Beale Street. They'll loan you some. I said, you're kidding. I said, no. Start talking to your brothers and sisters in the restaurant business. And I did.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out that people really do want to help each other.
I
All you got to do is ask. So,
I agree.
All right. Well, Wesley, thank you very much for coming down. You look great
Appreciate
in
it.
the coat.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Everybody looks better in a Lansky jacket, I can
I
tell
think
you.
my wife will want me to take this home.
Well, if you send her the picture, she will say, bring that jacket home. All right. Well, that is our show for today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.